So we've all heard the advice that you've got to display masculinity when you're with a woman, whether you're out on a date with her, or even when you're just meeting her for the first time at a bar or a party, or she's a new woman you work with. You want to project, you've heard us say you want to project that masculinity. Well, what does that mean? And how does projecting masculinity relate to you demonstrating interest in her, showing her that you're attracted to her? How much should you do? How much should you hide? That's what we're going to discuss in this video. Hey guys, I'm Bobby Rio and I'm here with Rob Judge. And one of the things that Rob and I were discussing is a dilemma that a lot of our clients run into, and they come to us, and it's this element of, I like this woman, I'm attracted to her, but how do I balance, first of all, showing her that I'm attracted to her, but also, not coming across as that so easy catch, guy she knows she has, guys will say to us, but you guys say once she knows you have you, it's over. Well, so I couldn't let her know that she has me. And there's a really fine distinction on that point that Rob and I are going to discuss today.
And that's crucial, is that differentiating that, because obviously anytime you're interacting with a woman you find attractive, there's sexual and social and romantic, all these different sort of channels that feed into that, and understanding when it's appropriate to show interest, how to show that interest, when it's appropriate to show affection, all these different things. These are all questions that I totally get why it's confusing the guys, and we're hoping to make some sense of that.
Yeah, so we want to start with this idea that there is there's desire and then there's affection, right? And we have a friend Chris who talks a lot about this, that what happens with guys is no matter how much desire we have to sleep with a woman, right? Or maybe like we go with our friends and we're like, this new woman at work is so hot, I'm so attracted to her. And then the guy gets in front of the woman and all of a sudden he just goes after her affection. He tries to get her affection, and then she kind of sees him as the nice, friendly guy at work. And then, a month or two later, he finally gets the courage up and he's like, hey, you want to go out for a drink sometime? And maybe if she says yes, but it's really because she just thinks he's this harmless guy. And a lot of this has to do with being masculine the right way.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the issue, is that when you're giving affection, you're pulling someone into you, right? It's like you're trying to create connections, show them you have shared interests. Think about how you show affection really to anyone or even anything. I mean, the way you show your affection to a dog is, you like pet the dog. The way you show affection to your mom is you call your mom, you tell her how much she means to you, that kind of thing. Compliments, yeah. Doing things for her that that she's gonna like, or and that's a great way to show affection. But the issue with that is that when you do that, it's really from a gender-neutral place, right? Anyone can show affection to a dog. Anyone can show affection to their mom. It's not necessarily. There's nothing masculine about doing that. And again, that's just the nature of the beast. There's nothing wrong with that. But the issue is that when you are in front of that woman, like I said before, it's romantic, it's sexual. It has to be the polarity. It has to be like, you're a man and she's a woman. And that polarity, it creates tension. And that's where the desire comes in. When you evoke desire in her, and also you're shameless about your own desire, she feels very much like the woman in the interaction, and you feel very much like the man. It's funny, when you were talking about it before, I think it's interesting when guys go to their friends and say, oh, yeah, man, I have to sleep with her, whatever. You do that around other guys because it's a very masculine thing. But then it's like, when you're in front of her, suddenly now it's like, you're like, oh, yeah,
Puppy dog's ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, because now you're shifting out of that. It's almost like you're not acting masculine. You're not acting like a man. You're just acting like that sort of, gender neutral. And again, the other thing too I want to point out is that there is a time and a place, absolutely, for that gender neutral affection. Every relationship also has an element of affection, but it's usually after that desire is established.
And that's, you bring up a great point, and it's the order of things. And the guys that struggle, I was 100% guilty of this for a really long time, is that I got the order wrong. And a lot of times, like I mentioned in the beginning of this video, you hear advice like, don't let her know how you feel too soon. And what guys do is they get it wrong, because it's like she can know that you find her sexually attractive, that you're into her, that she creates desire in you. All of that's fine, because that's what, if she's an attractive woman and you're a man, like, that's natural, right? Like, if you weren't attracted to her, if you didn't, like, then she'd be like, oh, is this guy, like, is he gay? Is he asexual? Like, that's fine. It's the other thing. It's like when you're coming across like, I really like you right away, that's like what gets you put in the friend zone. But guys mix that up. Guys go, yeah, I went on a date. Like, I'll do a coaching call, and the guy will like, yeah, we went on a date, but like, you know, I was gonna like, you know, touch her, but I was like, I was trying to like play it cool. And I'm like, that's not playing it cool, because instead you gave away everything in how interested you were and how much you wanted to hear about her life. Well, you're showing her everything you think you're hiding by doing that. And the one thing that's actually what you want to start with is that sexual desire. That's what you're hiding, and you really got to be, you know, really careful about that. We have I don't really like teaching this little saying anymore, but we used to have a saying that she can know you want to bang her, but she can't know you want to be her boyfriend, right? And I don't, you know, it's sort of crude, but it's a good way to remind yourself, like, she can know that you want to sleep with her, but she can't know you want to be her boyfriend. And you know, so like let's give it some sort of concreteness to this idea of masculinity, right? So some ideas in terms of how does a guy actually display a little bit of that masculinity? What does that mean?
Absolutely. Well, you know, being masculine, it's all about, you know, making those bold moves. It's about establishing that dynamic, that you're expressing your desires as a man. You know, even what you said before about pointing out, you know, it's kind of crude that we'd say, like, you know, that she can know, you know, you want to bang her, but, you know, and I totally get why we have to say that kind of stuff, because it's so easy for some of these little sound bites to get taken out of context and played and make it look like we're, you know, these heartless sort of guys that are giving like you know, this like creepy advice. But the thing that's funny about that, though, is that what's the big deal? Like, okay, you want to bang her? Yeah, like, absolutely. Like what? Like, you're not trying to do that? Like you are. I mean, you know, on some level, yeah, like, it's probably not the only thing you want to do, but, you know, maybe you do want to make her your girlfriend. But, like, what's the big deal if you say that? Or what's the big deal if she knows that? So, you know, one of the things, and again, it's almost like a mindset thing, as a man, you need to get comfortable with your own sexuality, with the fact that it's okay, that you can be shameless about, you know, the fact that you like women, that you're out there, that you like her. That's totally fine. I mean, the thing that I like to do in terms of, I brought it before, you know, bold statements, is I would tell a girl, I'd be like, oh, I'm so mad at you. You know, you came out tonight, you wore this you know, the way you look in that cocktail dress, like, I'm not going to be able to concentrate tonight, and it's completely your fault. I would be like, you know, saying the most Shakespearean stuff right now, but you're wearing this cocktail dress, and that's the only thing I can focus on. That's the only thing I can think about. And that's the sort of, you know, those are the sort of masculine ways that it's okay to show desire with a girl. Because I know, look, when I would approach a girl on the street, match with a girl on Tinder, even if I was spending a little extra time talking to a girl at work, I didn't think it was some kind of secret that she didn't know that I was interested in her romantically, sexually, you know, and that was fine. She can know that. Like, you know, I'm not trying to trick anyone or go that far into the radar. But the thing that I wouldn't do was I wouldn't just hand her over that affection right away. I wouldn't put the cart in front of the horse. Or, make sure I got that saying right. But yeah, you know, I would do things in the right order, because, you know, she can know that you're interested in her. But what she should have to work for is working for your affection, about, you know, making that bond with you so that it goes to that next level. It goes to that relationship level. Because like I said, like, desire plus, you know, affection, that equals relationship. You know, but desire alone, that equals lust.
Yeah.
Affection alone without desire, that equals friend zone or ignore zone.
Yeah, you know, Rob said a couple things that I want to pinpoint. One is he gave that example of making that comment early on in the date, like, why did you, you know, now that you wore that, I'm not going to be able to concentrate, you know. And like something simple like that immediately establishes, like, that, okay, he's a man, he's not afraid to embrace that, he's not hiding it. Because like you said, when a woman looks good, and she knows she looks good that night, and she knows, like, and you don't say anything, what you're actually projecting is fear. Like, this guy's afraid. You know, she knows that. She's not stupid. Like you said, she know if an attractive woman knows when she looks good, and when you don't say anything, she's like she either thinks what I said in the beginning, what's wrong with this guy, or she thinks like, oh, he's afraid, which is a very feminine, you know, the weaker sort of mode is the feminine, and the masculine is supposed to be the strong. courageous, and when you hide that,
Yeah, it's like cowardly.
it's cowardly. Another thing that I wanted to pinpoint is that not only does it make you look like a coward, right, but you're also depriving yourself and her of one of the things that really arouses a woman, right? For a woman to get turned on, the idea that she's slowly turning you on is extremely, extremely attractive to her, right? We all know that, like, and it was probably this idea when women talk about, like, the guys catcalling them, like, I don't want to be treated like a piece of meat, and we all think that, oh, women don't want that, but the reason that doesn't work is because if a woman's walking down the street and some random guy whistles at her, it wasn't slowly arousing him. It was like she was just a piece of meat that he was whistling at. But when she's with you and she's doing things and the date's going well, and she notices as the date's going well that you're letting her know that you're being turned on, well, now she's working for it and you're rewarding her as opposed to just being that random guy catcalling her. And I think that stereotype, right, where women say, I don't want to be catcalled, scares a lot of guys. They think, like, oh, I can't show that because women don't like it. They do like it when they feel like they're earning it, when they feel like they're doing something specifically to get that reaction out of you. So don't deprive her of that. Because ultimately, I always say, and you always say, chemistry happens when you bring your full masculinity to the interaction. And when you do that, what the beauty of it is that she reacts with her femininity. Like, when you bring masculinity, she reacts with her femininity. What happens to a lot of guys and clients of ours is that they come in with a femininity, right? They're kind of scared, they're kind of nervous, they kind of look for her to lead, and that forces her to be a little masculine. And when a woman's acting masculine, she doesn't feel turned on. She feels like it's the wrong.
It's unnatural.
Role for her. It's unnatural.
Yeah. And again, it's like not even about political correctness. It's just a feeling that we have. It comes down to like just these like innate primal emotions. So it's very important to establish that early on. And again, we're not saying to plow over anyone's boundaries or do anything that's like that's out of control or creepy or weird or anything like that. But just being shameless about the fact that you're a man. You're okay with your masculinity. You're okay with the fact that you like women and you're attracted to them. Like that, there's nothing wrong with that. And like no one should ever be able to make you feel ashamed about that or make you apologetic about that. Like it's a fact of life. It's been happening since the dawn of sex. It's fine.
Yeah, and I think that one of the things that I wanted to invite you to is because we're talking a lot about this again. This idea of shamelessly telling a woman that you're sexually attracted to her, making those sort of comments, right? And as Rob said, there's levels to everything, right? And even off camera before this, we were all kind of talking that the danger is at some point there is the other things you need to bring into it, right? Because if a lot of guys will go, well, I did, even sometimes what happens that we've had students where they're like, I met this girl, I took her home and I slept with her, and then I never heard from her again. And it's like, well, what happened? You told me to be masculine. I was masculine. And it's like, well, yeah, you gave her all of that, but then you didn't give her any of the other stuff. And in her mind, there was no connection. There was no reason to see you again. You were just some guy that she had a good night with and good sexual experience with, but she didn't feel any bond. So it's really important to mix all those things in. And Rob has a class, and what we're going to allow you to do is we're going to give the replay to this class completely free at the link below, because in this class what he does is he's got these 4 elements that you teach, right? And we don't have time to get into all 4 of them, but there's the aspect of one is that drive, which is that masculine energy, but then there is things like connection, which is it's both masculine and feminine, but mixing that in there with the drive is what not only makes it work better, but it also makes it more palatable. Like if you're only coming at her with that drive, you're not giving her a break, right? You kind of talk about it a little bit, this idea of tension and release, and it's like the masculinity creates a little bit of tension, and then the connection gives you a little bit of a release. It gives her a little breathing room. And what we want to show you how to do with a ton of examples, right? The one thing that you will get out of Rob is the nuts and bolts and the examples. And in this class, he's going to show you how to weave all 4 of these elements together. Like I said, it's completely free. We have a replay up. I don't know how long we're going to leave it up, but we're going to leave it up for a little bit. You can go to the link below and you can download the video, watch it, and go through the class, because your eyes, if you found any of this, you related to any of this, the class is really going to open your eyes to the various ways that you can connect all these different elements together. So again, if you like this video, hit subscribe, leave us a comment, and make sure you watch the longer video where Rob breaks down the 4 elements of game.